But that wasn't quite what I was looking for. I'm pretty sure you wouldn't really be surprised if I revealed I knew this little tidbit of your past.
No, of course not.
Silver Lake said.
I'm sure you could discover that and more if you really decided to investigate my history. If you came to me and started narrating my past, I'd just think you'd done your homework before coming to see me.
Right, so I'd really prefer if you gave me something more substantial. Surely you have some kind of private password you could easily tell me without truly inconveniencing yourself. You can change it immediately after you tell me, so it's not like there's any danger I'll abuse it.
Not during this month, no.
Silver Lake scoffed.
But what if you're right? I have no assurance you'll only use such a secret to convenience my future self of your crazy tale. You could use it just as easily to rob her blind.
But you don't believe in the time loop, Zorian tried.
If I'm going to entertain a stupid hypothetical, I'm not going to do a half-assed job.
Silver Lake said, her tone brooking no argument.
But, I think I have it. Do you remember how you came in front of my home and made all that racket to draw my attention?
Of course, Zorian nodded. It was one of the best moments of this month. Silver Lake took a sudden swipe at him with her bony, withered hand, but Zorian successfully dodged her strike.
Brat, I should refuse to say anything now, but I don't want you pestering me about this further.
Silver Lake grumbled.
Anyway, at some point I actually considered the possibility of someone finding my abode and trying to catch my attention. I was thinking of what would be the proper, polite way of doing that, and I realised I would probably have to install some kind of doorbell or something. And that would be kind of incompatible with the whole hidden nature of this place. No?
Right, Zorian agreed. So the doorbell would have to be hidden too, accessible only to people who've been told about it in advance.
Exactly.
Silver Lake said.
No, in the end, I just scrapped the whole idea. I didn't want people visiting the place too casually. However, I did implement part of the system before I gave up. There's a stone in this place that emits shrill whistles when a special keystone is activated right outside the entrance to this dimension. These keystones were never actually made, so the whistle stone just sits there, uselessly gathering dust. I guess there's no harm in showing you how to create a matching keystone.
And that would convince you there's something funny going on? Zorian asked.
Well, yes, I guess it would.
Silver Lake said.
I mean, I never actually made a single keystone, let alone distributed them to people. How could you possibly create one that matches perfectly with the whistle stone in my dimension? If you showed up holding one of those, that would catch my attention for sure.
Zorian grinned. He had a feeling their chances of convincing Silver Lake in the future had just dramatically improved. One of the more unexpected things about this restart was that Damon had made a surprising decision to stay in Sayoria for at least a few days of the month. Zorian wasn't sure what exactly triggered this decision. Perhaps it was because Zorian had asked to borrow his divine artifact mirror for a little research, or because his eldest brother had joined them in exploring the ruined palace inside the orb this time. But, regardless, Damon suddenly decided he absolutely must see the invasion. Zorian thought nothing of it at first, even when Damon came to Sayoria a few days before the actual day of the invasion, making a mysterious claim that he had something he needed to do. Zorian just dismissed it as him wanting to talk with his old friends or whatever. Then Damon came to him for help, and Zorian realized he probably should have inquired more thoroughly into what Damon was doing while back home in Eldamar. No, Damon, Zorian told him firmly. I'm not going to set up a meeting between you and Fortov. Come on, Zorian. This is our family at stake here, Damon pleaded. Oh, please, Zorian protested. You and Fortov not getting along with each other is not a crisis. That's par for the course in our family. Stop being so melodramatic. Crisis or no, this time loop is perfect for solving things like this. And it'll take so little effort, too. Show some compassion for your big brother and do me a favor, eh? Damon insisted. Haven't I let you borrow my mirror when you asked, despite my better judgment? And let's not forget about that secret room full of treasure that I found in the ruined palace. It would have taken you months to find that without me, if you ever did. Zorian made a sour face. Yes, Damon was rather more helpful in this restart than he usually was. That secret room in particular. They were still sorting through the contents, but it would seem there were some very nice things hidden in there. One of the daggers appeared to be a genuine divine artifact. They had no idea what it did yet, but even if it turned out to be underwhelming, it would be extremely valuable as a research subject and priceless trade good. Look, Zorian said, using me as a lure so you can basically ambush Fortov out there in the open really doesn't sit well with me. Don't you think that's kind of a jerk thing to do? I thought you hated Fortov, Damon challenged, raising his eyebrow at him. I don't like him, but this sort of manipulative maneuver doesn't sit well with me, Zorian said. Just go confront him directly, okay? I'm sure he'll relent if you keep pestering him. No, he won't, Damon said slowly. Do you think I'd suggest this if that worked? Besides, you're looking at this the wrong way. You don't have to trick him or anything. You said he always seeks you out at the end of the restart, so long as you don't avoid him. Something about the cure for the purple creeper ash, yes? Yes, Zorian reluctantly admitted. So, you want me to just go somewhere he can easily reach and wait for him to show up on his own? Yes, Damon nodded. Since you haven't asked him to meet with you, he has no right to complain when it turns out I'm there too. Zorian sighed. Well, all right. Though, if you've been pestering him these past few days, he might decide to deviate from his usual pattern. It's amazing as it is that he always ends up pushing Ibri into that purple creeper patch. That has got to be a deliberate move on his part. Damon agreed. I should ask about that too, I guess. The final plan was very simple. Zorian would spend the evening walking around the city, occasionally casting divinations to see if Fortov was approaching. If he was, he would quickly seek shelter in one of the many coffee shops scattered around Cyoria, under the theory that Fortov was slightly less likely to start yelling at Damon in the middle of a crowded coffee shop than in the middle of the street or whatever. Once Fortov sat down, Damon would show up to crash the event. Damon's little plot worked perfectly. Fortov did show up in search of Zorian's help in procuring an anti-rash potion. Zorian had already made the necessary salve, so he just handed the little jar to Fortov and sat back to finish the cup of tea he had ordered. Fortov looked down at the cure jar in his hand, fingering it awkwardly, and frowned at him. You just happened to have that very specific cure lying around in your pocket? Fortov asked Zorian incredulously. What the hell, Zorian? Do you carry a whole apothecary with you at all times or something? Well, the way his pocket dimension creation skills were advancing, that might actually be a possibility in the future. I knew you'd be looking for that, Zorian said. I spoke to him.
Oh, stop!
Fortov's face twisted in surprise. She spoke to you? He asked, shocked. Oh, man, why me? Look, thank you for this, but you pushed her into that purple creeper patch deliberately, didn't you? Zorian said, not really asking so much as making an observation. It's not that simple, okay? Fortov said defensively. You don't know what she's like. I know she looks quiet and all, but she was being really aggressive and wouldn't take no for an answer, and she kept trying to kiss me and I guess I went a little overboard. And a purple creeper patch just happened to be nearby? Zorian asked. Fortov's explanation was great and all, but how did that explain Ibri ending up in that bush every single time? I deliberately chose the purple creeper-related task when they were distributing class assignments, because people usually avoid them like a plague. But that didn't deter her this time. I guess, in retrospect, it would have been much smarter to select something that would keep other people nearby. At least that would stop her from trying to get physical with me. Zorian was about to inquire more, but this was the moment that Damon finally showed up to crash the meeting. Strange. He actually kind of wished Damon had taken longer to arrive. The story was just getting interesting. You again! Fortov hissed, giving Damon an angry glare. Why can't you take the hint? And how the hell are you even here? I thought you were supposed to be in Koth. Please, I just wanted to talk, okay? Why are you being so... Zorian leaned back in his chair, taking a